Steve Van Samson,
Curtis M. Lawson,
Paul Christian Glenn, Joshua Rex, Raz, Rob Smale. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Clutch of Personalities. We are here tonight. I'm super excited. This is our first episode of the show. We have with us Mr. Steve Van Samson, who, I got to tell you, okay, you're going to be impressed with this guy. He writes, obviously, you can see the list of books and stuff down below, and there's a lot more to go with that. He narrates. He narrates his own books. He's really good at it. He is an artist. He is a podcaster. We have links to all that as well. And I found this out once because I was hearing about what a Renaissance man he was when he was doing a show for one of his books. And I was jokingly asking, what do you sing too? And actually he does. He has 3 albums out with...
I mean, not well. You know, it's singing. It's like, you know, I used to always tell people I play the throat. It's metal, you know. I mean, it's singing. But thank you.
Yes, but I appreciate it. If you like metal, you know, you're gonna like going to that. So deep dive all over. We have links for Steve everywhere and everything. What I wanted to do tonight initially, Everett, hello. We're going to be doing some giveaways, and I just started now. So Everett, I'm going to have you post again at some point, I hope. There's a great tool here on StreamYard, and if you can't tell, I kind of love Steve. And so I want everybody else to experience the love. So I'm going to be giving away some copies of some Kindle books that he has, and we're going to be covering all those. I'm going to show you the awesome amount of swag you get when you order from Rough House Publishing. Hello.
Heck yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Barry.
Hey, Barry.
Barry? Sorry. But yeah, and the first thing I want to do is show off the swag I have, but there's also in these giveaways, somebody is going to get their own autographed version of Mark of the Witchworm that there's going to be a little bit of artwork done in by Mr. Renaissance Man himself here.
Yeah, so let me just say, Delphine.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me on tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the amazing intro. That was surely more than I deserve, but you know, I appreciate it. That was great. Thank you for having me on tonight, and I'm super excited to kick off your podcast, this first episode. Really just total honor, and we've known each other for a little while, and I think this is just really cool that you asked me to be on your first episode. And yes, I mean, you're giving away various things tonight of mine, which is just so cool. So yeah, so this one I'll send out personally to the winner. I will autograph it, and I always, to anyone who ever buys a book from me in person, I always do a sketch as well. I draw a little witchworm in that title page, so I will do that and send it out. Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, and while you're going about looking at things, I'm gonna throw in here, and we do happen to be in 2 books together.
Yes.
More lore for the Mythos, yeah. And volume 2, and there will be a volume 3 coming out sometime in the future.
Yes,
but these are all Lovecraftian based tales, and Steve's is we get some fun in these. You get a lot of fun writers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these are by Fractured Mind Publishing, and it's been really great. And honestly, they've sold fairly well. They've sold fairly well compared to other anthologies I've been in. So I'm happy to be in volume 3 that's coming out. So you're also going to be in volume 3.
Yes,
well?
And our opening weeks on those we're way up in the top. Yeah. Like, Hello, Hellblazer, and yes, Jesse here is AKA Raz T Slasher. He is also with us in Volume 2. So, and hopefully
What's
will
up,
be in
Jesse?
Volume 3 as well. So I'm gonna get started on.
Okay.
This is what happens. Y'all gonna have to forgive me. I'm working between two brands here to make sure I get everything up right.
This is your first episode. You're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing
my first episode. Okay, so if you go over to the Rough House publishing site, which is listed in our links, you'll get to see that there are 3 different editions when you're ordering through them the Mark of the Witch Room. You can get the standard edition. Now you get this autographed, and that's great and all, but you can move up a little bit, and you get the premium edition, where you're also going to get some artwork, and you're going to get autographs, and you're going to get a little couple of extras. And then you can be like me and go insane and get the ultimate edition twice. Limited to 50 units. Yeah, sorry. I got 2 of them.
Whoops.
So, but I'm going to go through and show what you get with that. And first off, as you've been showing off, you get the paperback.
Nice.
It's a good little book, and you get the bookmarks that have their 2-sided artwork.
Yeah, the winner I'm including the bookmark too.
Oh, you get a bookmark as well.
Yeah. Where's the camera? There it is.
And yeah, I'm always like, hey, you want to see my tattoos? Here's the back of my arm. And then I point, at the totally wrong person. There's so much stuff in this. I did notice Joe Dunbar has done an unboxing as well.
Yes, Joe's my oldest friend, and he is on the podcast with me as well. He's a co-host of my podcast, our podcast, Retro Redoctopus.
Which is in the links.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Go on.
Yeah, it's a nostalgia podcast. We just talk about old geeky stuff we liked growing up. It has nothing to do with the stuff I write, but it's a fun side thing that we do. And Zoe, thank you for showing up, Zoe. Zoe's the best. Zoe's a friend that I made on the con scene, and she's an incredibly talented maker of armor and jewelry. And she looks really good in a skull, like an additional skull, a skull on top of her skull. She looks.
Ooh,
she pulls it off. Not everybody can pull that off.
I need some work done. So Zoe, if you can friend me, that would be awesome. I don't know why nobody's picked
Barry. Shout out to Barry. I went to school with Barry forever. Like we were in high school and middle school, and yeah. Thanks for showing up, Barry. Yes, is he invisible? What am I, chopped liver? Like, no, you're not chopped liver, buddy. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. It's awesome.
I said hi to you up at the beginning. You were on the screen, but you get to be on again. Gonna keep going through here. This is something else that you get when you get the Ultimate Edition. Yeah. You get the nice, pretty book with the wraparound artwork, and that was cool. And by the way, I'm not going to go through and try to get it to show the page. I got book number 13, and I'm not sure what the other one is yet because I'm leaving it completely sealed because I'm that person. But this was something. If you take off the cover. I might have to turn on another light for this. No, that did not work at all. If you take off the cover, you can see this really pretty design of the snake skin, and the book itself, just its cover is gorgeous. And it feels really nice.
Zoe said she likes extra skulls. I don't want to know how many you have, Zoe.
That's cool.
And
hi, Mikey.
Christopher, hello. Barry and I were in French class together. He just called me Etienne. That's a throwback. So yeah, the hardcover, there is a difference besides the artwork too, and the jacket and whatnot. But we did, we had a totally separate wraparound artwork. That was like a big thing that the publisher really insisted on. And the artist is this guy. He's just this awesome, amazing, talented artist. His name is Renee Eigner. and he's from Munich, and he actually was the artist who did the covers of, you mentioned singing, so I'll just bring it up. He did the covers for my Enchanted Exile band as well. So he did those 2 covers, and then he did a third piece, which is actually the back of the. We used it for the back cover of the paperback, but it's also one of the sides of the poster that comes with the deluxe edition. But the other cool thing with that deluxe edition is in the back, there's an extra short story that's not in the paperback, and there's also artwork in there from myself and also Derek Rook, who is he's the man behind Rough House Publishing, and you're going to see a lot more artwork from that guy with our next book, which is Black Honey, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, and much love going out to Derek right now, and he is very awesome too. Speaking of that poster, you mean this one?
Yes, that one. That is the we called that the teaser artwork, where the man on horseback, it's the character Crow, and he's riding. This doesn't actually happen in the narrative, but it's sort of like a what if image where he's riding into the forest, and there's the witchworm, and I like to think he's just thinking about it. It's not really.
And the poster has this other beautiful comic book side.
That is my favorite side. That was done by Derek Rook, and it's an homage to Marvel's Godzilla #1 from like 1980, I think it came out. And it has a very similar like red background, and he kind of put all the elements in the right place, and he's like lifted his foot to stomp, and there's a guy running scared, and it's fun, but it's just awesome. I love it so much. And it's fighting the rose creature in there. Oh, Paul McNamee. Yeah. Hey buddy. He says his cat's watching too. I don't know which one, but thanks.
Joe's cat ran away. My cat's over here. She'll probably join us because she's very jealous of camera time. So you get this poster, and somebody send me where to get a double-sided poster thing that I don't either have to have on a stand display or have suspended from the ceiling. Because I've been looking, and they're like, do you want this like table thing for a menu at Applebee's? I'm like, no, not really. But But I also don't have a metal stand to set it up on,
I guess you could just have one side showing at a time and then like swap it out, I guess. Hey Kevin. Thanks for showing up, man. Kevin Lewis, another local author buddy. There's a great community of authors up here. I'm in Massachusetts, and between the various New England states, there's just been an amazing amount of cool people that I've met over the last 6 or so years. And I have to say, like, it's been kind of my favorite part of this whole journey and stuff, just making friends, but also just, being around like-minded people is always fun. And yeah.
I've noticed. Hi, Rob.
Rob's another one of those local author buddies. He's a very good friend, and he happens to be listening to the audiobook of Witchworm now, which he told me just I think he posted that yesterday. So that is very cool. I really appreciate that.
It's really easy. Well, not like in a bad way, but it's really easy to listen to you reading it. Like I the first time I listened to it, I riveted, absolutely, totally paying attention. And then I reached the second time going through it, so I can be like, oh, I can relax, and this is a good story. So, he finished it this afternoon.
Wow.
See, now you can go through your second reading or your second listening, and it can help you kind of drift off and have the nice streams going on with, the really fun world. I find those kind of dreams fun when people are trying to kill me and stuff. Everybody's got their thing.
Sure.
But
horror writers, we are weird. The stuff has to come from somewhere. Oh, Barry, thanks so much.
Barry,
just bought the Ultimate Edition. Nice. Oh man, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're gonna love it. You know what else you're gonna get, Barry? You're gonna get one of these stickers.
Yep, that's our. You might want to rotate it a little bit. It's an Ouroboros.
Yeah.
This was
The
imagery
Ouroboros.
that comes up a lot in the book. The serpent eating its own tail. It's kind of meaningful for one of the characters, and so we used it on some of the promotional artwork. I was really pushing that, and that's like a version. So I did that one. That's the
Is it this
shirt.
one?
Yeah.
Is it centered? I can't see anything right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Yep, and it has some of the Alchemist Creed around the edges there.
And
Crows
then the other one you
Creed.
can get. I'm wearing it. I'll be
You have both?
nice. I have both of them.
I don't even have
I'm
both.
wearing this one. You know what's great about this, guys? And this is a close up of the design there. Close up of the other design. These t-shirts until midnight tonight just happened to be on
Yeah,
sale at TeePublic. It just happened. I
yeah.
was looking it up to get those screenshots, and I'm like, did you know that they're on sale? So I put that link down there too, so you can make sure you get both t-shirts, because one looks good with green lipstick and the other one is,
You definitely do
but
not need both t-shirts, folks. But, if you're crazy, I mean, thanks.
I'm a bit
Luckily,
crazy.
the green one. No, okay, one of them. Shoot, now I can't remember. I had my buddy Randy Carter. I don't know if he's gonna show up here tonight or not, but he saw me post the first shirt, and he's like, "Can you do this in green?" So I had the blue one to start, and then I made the green one, or vice versa. I can't remember now, but it's just kind of funny. I'm like,
Susan?
yeah, I can do that. Hi, Susan.
Well, I like green as well. I really appreciate it that you went through it. You also get this lovely piece of art.
Yeah. It's like a little, we called that like a mini poster. It's on cardstock. It's pretty cool. That was a group shot that I drew myself, just with no plans to use it. And then I had showed it to Derek Rook, and he's like, "Oh, we're going to use this." And then he inked it, and he brought like a completely different dimension to the artwork. Totally next leveled it, like couple levels higher for sure. And we put it in there as just another little fun extra, just a little piece of art. Basically everything that Rough House does is like art forward. Like that's always the idea. Like, as much fun as possible, as much value, as much art. Derek's many things as well. He's a writer, he's an editor, he does amazing layouts, he does, text for comics, he does so many different things, for Rough House Publishing and for other companies over the years. But he is an artist, first, and he really is incredible. He's really great. So shout out to my brother in Rough House, Derek Rook, who is recovering from a major operation as of last week. So, and you alluded to that earlier, but
I didn't want to get too far, but I'm really glad that he's doing well and super excited. Yeah. You get your Rough House stuff going here.
Rough House Pulp. This was the very first ever Rough House Pulp thing. He had been wanting to launch a prose division, a leg of the company, for a while, and so Mark of the Witchworm actually ended up being the first Rough House novel. And so we're going to follow that up with the oh, thank you, Susan. Thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely will. Hey, Wade, what's going on, man? Another awesome author. Wade Garrett right there. Yo! Hey, yo, what's up, Wade? Hey, yo, how you doing, man? How you doing? Yo.
And Frank's here. He's one of our owners.
Frank awesome Clevenger. Guy. I'm good friends with Scott Clevenger. I can't imagine there are that many Clevengers, but he's in California. I don't know if you guys are related or not.
So cool.
But
I love how you're talking about. I love how you're talking about the community, and I keep interrupting you, but
no problem
with all the different things. But yeah, go ahead, because I have met a bunch of people from your area due to some of the projects I worked on and some of the just the people I've been meeting, and I'm really jealous. We don't so much have that here in Nebraska. There's not like
I wasn't sure where you were. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the center of the country, and there's, we have a couple people. We scared Stephen of the King enough to write Children of the Corn about us, but otherwise it's just like, nah, we got nothing. And everybody says hi to each other. I'm going to quit putting those up constantly. So, but yeah, go in a little bit more on the community that you have, because that is super neat that you have it.
Well, I mean, I guess I was sort of introduced into the world of local authors at large through this this group that doesn't actually meet anymore, but it was called the Writers Coffee House. And that led to events where I met people like Rob Smales, who's here, and Paul McNamee, who's here, and Kevin, and just various other people. I think my gateway was the Writers Coffee House, and that was run by James A. Moore and Christopher Golden. And they really are like kind of the local, the local Yodas, basically. They're very successful, and you may have heard of one or both of them. And I mean, Christopher Golden's just, he's working on the new Hellboy movie, works with Mike Mignola all the time, and everything. I mean, so like, it's cool having like people who have been through it and know everything, and can, dispense this incredible, advice if you ask for it. And, you end up doing these just fun get together events, and then everybody sort of, supports each other too, through like, book launches. And I mean, look, like, there are people here tonight for me, which is amazing. And, I go to things whenever I can too. And it's really fun. And doing it, when you get to do cons with these people, the thing that I, because I do really like doing conventions. I think it's really fun. Like, I wasn't sure how it was really. Oh yeah, Kevin said he misses the Writers Coffee Houses. They were great. They were really great. Yeah, so the con scene, like, I wasn't sure how people were gonna be, like, if there was gonna be like a competitiveness, or, for sales, or like how, is there a cattiness? Like, I just didn't know. And I entered into that with the New England Horror Writers, and Rob Smales was, he says, me too. Rob Smales was there the first time I ever did a con. He was at the table with me. And with some other awesome writers that are like, friends to this day, I mean, Scott Goudsward and Trisha Woldrich and various people and stuff. So like, I mean, I just didn't know what to expect. And then I get there, and it's completely the opposite. There's no competitive, bone in any of these people's body, which is great, because I'm not there to beat out anybody either. Like, I heard this crazy horror story, and I obviously won't name names, of like some guy who like took somebody's book out of a customer's hands and put his own in the book. Oh no, you should buy this one. And that is just the most insane thing I've ever heard. I thought it was a joke when I heard this, but apparently there are those people out there, but these are not the people I associate with. So it's been just incredibly fun, and just everybody's happy for everybody, and everybody wants everybody to succeed. And it's great. It's just really great. So I really just love it. It makes it fun.
Melissa?
Melissa.
Conventions, book launches, festivals, random fun like karaoke, ghost walks. Nice.
Oh yeah.
That's something else that I'm planning on heading out east though, so I can catch some decent cons.
Nice.
I don't know if I'll make it. Yeah, I'd like to make it this year, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do just.
If you end up coming to Mass, definitely, plan on going to Salem for sure. Even if, because there's no con in Salem. There are like street vendors and stuff throughout the month of October. There's spooky vendors and such, but like everything's spooky in Salem. But it's really fun if you get to come and like check it out. It really is a fun town. I always tell people, if they're coming to the area, check out Salem.
Okay. I've heard mixed reviews of it from the witch community, basically. Some people are like, yeah, it's super awesome. I got to go there and visit. And I have other people who are like, it's not real anymore. It's all
It's just touristy,
staged.
but it's kind of like a mecca for people who like horror movies, though. So that's kind of fun. Rob says, "Thanks, Steve," but he doesn't mean it. He lives in Salem, so he doesn't want to deal with your car being on his streets.
Oh, I almost forgot because I moved it up here because it was my favorite. Well, besides, I mean, the books and stuff, obviously. This is the last thing that you're going to get with the Ultimate Edition. And it is a beautiful pin. Got your Rough House logo and the pin holders in back. And that, I've just gotten together. I got a bunch of literature patches because you know how the punks, like, they do crust punk. And so they have all their, like, you know, patches stitched on to everything and they run around being all, I'm going to do crust lit. So I've got all these patches with different quotes and different authors and stuff and patches from different publishing companies.
Nice.
And I found it, I've been looking for, like, what do I put it on? Like, I finally found a nice shirt that's, like, really got nice, tough material that'll hold up to it. So I'm going to be doing that. So I'm going to have this shirt that I'm wearing around. Like, yeah. My stepdad grew up in Marblehead across the bay. Beautiful area.
Nice.
Awesome, Susan. So, yeah. So should we, like, I'm going to take a commercial in a little bit, but
you're steering the ship.
I just realized this week that I had written this really long review for Mark of the Witchworm and never posted it.
Oh, really?
I'm like, let me show you everything. And I didn't write a review or anything like that. I just do shows instead. You know, it's like, you want my review? Click. Here's a link to it. It's an hour and a half longer. So, you know, but the book, for those of you who haven't read it, is just a really beautiful story. And I don't want to give anything away, really. It's I don't. It's
been a while since I read it. Tell me what's about it. I don't even remember.
Well, there's this guy, you see, on his horse, but it's not a horse. It's an Adamandre named Magnus. Right. And Rander Belmorn is off on a journey to save his child. And there is a specific medicine that his child is suffering from, a very specific disease that is pretty much 100% fatal. He has seen this medicine save someone before. So he takes off, and he is there's a joke. He calls them a fisherman, but they're black. Oh, is it black waders? Blackwater?
So he's from the Blackfoot. He's a Blackfoot.
Okay, yeah.
He's not
because
he's
the
not,
water.
That's not his tribe. That's his type of hunter. He is a Native American inspired character who comes from a fishing community where they wade out into this big river that's like so black. It looks black because it's so full of. Why, hello there, says my brother Timothy. Hello, Timothy. Also on the Retro Doctopus Cephala podcast with Nintendo and myself. And they like wade out into this black river. It's just called the Black River, and it's that color because it has so much sediment and seaweed and stuff that it just looks, and like an algae, it just looks black. And there are big eels that live in there, and so they're just the culture is they basically fish, quote unquote, the river, but it's not really with fishing poles. They ride out with these giant horses, and when you get out, they ride out onto the horses, but they're barefoot. And so when they get out of the river, their feet are black with stuff, algae and stuff. And so it's a colloquialism, but so throughout the book, he's referred to as a Blackfoot, but he doesn't like to be called a fisherman.
That's what it cracks me up, because they're like, oh, so you're a fisherman. He's like, excuse me. And basically does what you just did. Like, no, there are these giant fucking eels. We go out there.
It minimizes it a little too much for him. He can't deal with that. And he's not like bitchy about absolutely anything else. It's just that one thing that goes up his butt. He really doesn't like that.
Oh, I clicked on the wrong. Wait, SNES. We were going for.
Yeah.
Scott, by the way, you invented a truly gross disease.
So here's the other Clevenger. So Scott, are you related to a Frank Clevenger who was here earlier?
He's in
I'm just
California.
wondering. He can answer that, but I'm just like Clevenger. What? It's not like a name I've heard before.
These eels, both of you, these aren't.
So
Okay.
eels. So who was it? Who was that? Penelope? Was that the name? It was there for 1 second. It says eels, Princess Bride. So that's 100% like what put it in my brain, because I really just love the Princess Bride, and I just I wanted something that was a little left left of normal, so not fish, but nothing like too crazy, because I pepper in the fantasy bits, and I really I treat when I'm writing something that's like pure horror, because I have a couple of vampire books, and whenever it's pure horror, like I treat the gore like very deliberately. So, and I don't do splatterpunk, so I reserve my gore for specific moments so that they hopefully resonate really a lot, and then you remember them, and there might be one or two scenes that really stuck out, and in this I sort of did that because I hadn't written fantasy before. I call this dark fantasy, but really it's more Conan than anything. It's really sword and sorcery, and I called it axes and alchemy just because wink. Anyway, and he's got an axe. He's got axes, so like whatever. Oh wow! Well, there's Clevengers everywhere, apparently, according to Paul McNamee.
I'm surrounded by Clevengers.
I knew I'm surrounded by assholes. So yeah, anyway, I tried to, like, I didn't want everything to be like, you look left, there's a manticore, you look right, there's a dragon, you look up, there's a sphinx. I don't know. Like, I just wanted it, like, the witchworm to be the thing that it mostly stands out as the fantasy creature. There is other unbelievable stuff for sure, but with the eels, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna tweak a real thing, and hopefully it works. I ended up liking that stuff.
And being a crow, you really destroyed me.
There's a lot of crow
horrible stuff. There are horrible crows that are just rotten, and that, like, don't eat the crows, don't fuck with the crows. Just stay away from the crows.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, they don't taste good either. You can eat them, but you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But so
there's the character named Crow. I had crows throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
Now it all makes sense. This is why you love this book so much, Delphine.
Yes, it's all about the crows. But he goes through and he's meeting people, and he's like trying to go there. There's been this devastation. It's hard to get people don't get around. There's no internet. There's nothing like that. There have been wars and stuff going on, and people are separated. So he's like, I'm going off to find this guy that I have like one point of reference to, and it's a city that is somewhere, and I'll find it, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to save my kid. And he goes, and we don't have to read the entire story of him getting down there. He did us a favor and kind of skipped a bit of the long journey. It's like, okay, we're here on the map now. A lot of shit happened. Now we're here. Okay.
Yeah, right. It catches up to him at the end of the journey. I like to say it's like with A New Hope, where George Lucas was like, yeah, there's some stuff that happened first, but I'm going to start it in chapter 4. So I feel like that's what this is. This is like the chapter 4.
It was a good place to start it, because otherwise, yeah, there would have been another book, like the prequel of Riding a Long Time. and probably meeting people, but
you can tell stories. That this could have been book 3, I guess. You could have started out in the village, and the son started to get sick, and then all this stuff. And I personally, the thing that gets me about fantasy that I don't like is that it tends to be needlessly long and needlessly long-winded. And I like shorter stuff. I like getting in, getting out. I like a well-told story that isn't trying to stick around for 7 books. When that is the plan, I tend to not be in love with the story. It loses me. Usually with long series, like book 1's pretty good, and then it just, turns into kind of, okay, we're just endlessly doing stuff. So yeah, I mean, with this, I just wanted to fill the gaps in flashback and have him be thinking about, you know, what he left behind, what he has to get back to, and and the main thing that's going on that is a subconscious thing that becomes more known later is that, you know, he's this big, strong, you know, Conan type, with better morals than Conan ever had for sure. But he he starts to realize that, like, you know, the reason that he left isn't the reason thought that he convinced himself he left for.
I love how you'd thrown him in all the way that you did it with flashbacks really did give him a lot of character development. And that was the one big thing you showed so many types of, because we have the alchemist, we have a couple of bandit kind of troops they've taken over where the old guard left off in places, the actual old guard, and a little kid who shows up to like hang out, who just is all hero worshiping about their local hero. But you showed so many different types of heroism and different ways to be a hero and bravery. And then there's looking back at what was actually brave and what is actually cowardice, and which was my motivation behind something for more than just, you know, one aspect. Like each character goes through that sort of like, I'm going to, you know, I'm doing this for this reason. Is that really that reason? Or am I using that as a way to convince myself that that's what I'm doing things for? What does it actually come down to when we get it?
On the nosy. Yeah, that's 100% what I was going for. Because I like, you know, a certain amount of realism with stuff, with, you know, because I'm writing monsters. Like I'm not going to stop writing monsters. I love monsters. So there's always going to be silly stuff, but if I take the people seriously to a point, and that's kind of goes back to what I was saying, like peppering in the gore or the magic stuff, or, you know, the mythical beasts or whatever. It's like, you know, I really practiced restraint. I didn't want it to be this just like, oh, I love dragons, so there's dragons everywhere. Like, you know, that's fine. That, you know, I have no problem with that. Like if people want to write that, but I didn't want to write that just personally. And yeah, I mean, it really is a thing like, okay, let's make these characters feel like real people. Well, people aren't, most of us anyway, aren't pure evil or pure good. We're pretty gray. Everybody's gray. And so I wanted to write a cast of gray characters that was a small cast of gray characters. I mean, I think the only truly like good person is the kid. You know, I think that Rivka has been through a lot, and she's the only one that's like kind of chaotic good, but everybody else is pretty gray. And I was also really cognizant of the fact that whenever you write a kid character and they interject a kid character into a grown-up thing, it's always the most annoying thing ever, and they suck. So I was really cognizant of that and wanted to write a character that was endearing and charmed the audience at the same time she's charming Rander, because he also wants nothing to do with the kid. He doesn't need to have a new person to help. His whole thing is he's like, no, I gotta not get involved with anything because I am already doing something really important here and I'm almost out of time. So
got my rules. He had his rules, and yeah, I keep cutting you off. We have a new person, Oni's Legion 2.0. Hey.
Hey, Onis, what's up? Thanks for joining us.
Glad
I don't know. I've always loved plague doctors. They're just fascinating, and they're cool, and they're weird, and they're in the book too. They're in Witchworm.
Yes.
In a couple capacities. But yeah.
I didn't bring it out. I have my skulls and some of my. I have a squirrel puppet that does squirrel things for when I get way off topic. It has bottles of. I have little airplane bottles of Maker's Mark and Crown Royal for my squirrel to hold. And something else the Clutch of Personalities falls underneath the Owlite brand in the PBDC, and we're going to be doing campfire shows coming up. Some will be pre-recorded shows where we read stories, but others are going to be, we're going to grab a bunch of people together on Sundays, hang out, and each of us perform a live story, either
Fun.
our own or somebody's that they've given permission for the work, or something that is in the public domain. No stepping on toes, can't just grab Gaiman off the shelf and go whirling there. But we would love to have you there.
Cool.
Yeah, rabbits and squirrels. Yeah. But I have my little plague doctor Squishable, but he's in the other room.
Yeah, right. I love that guy. That guy's great. And
they have one too?
I don't, but he's great.
Yeah, Rob, we'll grab you. If you want to come, just get through him to me.
Of course he does.
I would love, we'd love to have authors, but you have a whole community out there. We'll have a whole like East Coast campfire kind of thing going on.
Hey.
Set up the time better for you. Fun. So, yeah. So, you also mentioned your vampire books, and this is the Predator world. And these are, yes, I very much enjoyed your take on vampires. It was the first time I've ever seen vampires set in Africa, for one thing. And the Bone Eater King is, you guys have to read this. It's going to be one of the things on the giveaway when we do drawings later on. I'm going to be doing the Kindle of all of your novels. Just what people get, both of the Bone Eater King books and the Witchworm, so you'll get a chance to read those. Well, yes, you can have vamps in Africa, even though they bless the rains. That doesn't matter here.
That's true. And these vampires are really highly allergic to water, so the rains in Africa would be mainly on the plains, which is neither here nor there. But the rains would definitely be a problem for sure in Africa. They can listen to Toto all they want, though. That's fine. There's nothing inherently bad about Toto, in my opinion, person-to-person basis. So these, I did just a total different take. I don't know. I just tried to inject something that everybody is kind of seen to death and read to death and watched movies to death, and and just tried to see if I could do my own take on it and have it be interesting. And that was definitely, the setting was the genesis of the idea. And it's like, well, if you're out there and vampires are like the apocalypse and you're out in the middle of the Serengeti because you're trying to find food, see, this is another thing, like the biology in those books I tried to get fairly accurate. That was my realism for those books. Everybody's gray in those books, though, too. Like, everybody's gray. Yeah. More towards the darker scale of gray, for sure. But I mean, I think that would be the world if there was truly an apocalypse or something like that. You're like The Walking Dead. Nobody's good. It's just surviving, and that's all there is anymore. But yeah, so I don't know. There's 2 books. The Bone Eater King is the first one, so you want to start there, and the second one is Marrow Dust, and continues the story. So that is, to this day, the only sequel I've written, is Marrow Dust. But yeah. And then I went to something totally different. I'm like, I want to write a fantasy book. I want to write the anti-fantasy book because I never liked fantasy books.
Yeah. Can I give away a little bit? I mean, the sure. Title of the second. Okay, first of all, there are hyenas, and that's just awesome to me. I just love them, But every comic book or new vampire thing that comes out has their own like, we're going to use like these ultrasonic bullets and things, and we have this super serum that's going to go in that can be this, and they found out if you want a really superpower vampire, where's the most concentrated section of blood you're going to get? go for the fucking marrow, man. And I've never read anybody using bone marrow, like, the marrow from somebody as an enhancement for a vampire before. And right, it worked out really well.
Thank you. Yeah, it was just a thought I had at some point. I didn't plan on that when I started Bone Eater King, and then it sort of occurred to me at some point during the writing, where it's like, well, that's what bone marrow is. It's just red blood cells concentrated, essentially. And so it's like, well, you know, maybe blood isn't the end all be all. There's something in there that, you know, affects these creatures, and they get a much better, it's like the concentrate, you know, it's like the, you know, blood concentrate essentially. So it has different effects and it does different things. And there are two types of vampires in this, plus the unique Bone Eater King himself. And the main type is that you're just basically like a person. You have your memories, you have your morals and everything. You are you. You're just so hungry that they kind of fly out the window. But everybody, instead of becoming pale and pasty, everybody turns jet black, and their eyes are solid red. And they have no hair. So it's like Nosferatu if he was like ebony black, and with solid red eyes. So white person, black person, any person, they become jet black. And then if they are not able to feed enough, because the thought was that the world has a very finite supply of food left, and eventually it's going to wind down and there's not going to be anything left. So down the road, eventually it's just going to be, nobody's going to win. But right now it's like, well, you know, all the easy prey has already been eaten. So all the gazelles and zebras and, you know, all antelope and stuff, they're all gone. And all that's really left is predators, things that are really good at surviving and hunting and killing and getting their supper. And so that's why I called it Predator World. And, you know, one of the predators just happens to be a vampire, but there's hyenas, there's leopards, there's lions, there's stuff left. But, you know, we're 25 years into the plague, so it's not looking good. And if there was another 25 years, I'm not sure there would be anything left. So these are just the stories of the world in its last days, basically, and its death throes.
And it was really realistic. You know, people are out, like, you have your hunters and you're trying to go out and, like, well, we have to go for some lions. We have to go find some, you know, and they're getting worn out because there's nothing for them to eat either.
Right.
And with the water, like, little people, you know, kind of the opposite of water world, we're going to, like, okay, if we can hide out in the middle of the lake, we're golden until somebody brings a fucking boat. Okay.
Right.
Damn it. I forgot about that.
You find your bastions, you find where you can survive. Because what I wanted to do was remove all the safe things, which, you know, plenty of other things have done, other books and movies and whatever. But the way I did it was to very plainly at the beginning say, the cities belong to them. The cities are the vampires' territory. And the reason is because the same reason that The Last Man on Earth by Richard Matheson and the Vincent Price movie and the, you know, the Will Smith adaptation and stuff, like the I Am Legend, like, yeah, I Am Legend is definitely something that inspired me in a way. And I love the way that all the vampires are like, well, we need to hide from the sun. So they just took all the buildings. They kicked everybody out. You want to stay in a building, you have to deal with vampires that are definitely going to kill and eat you. So people just left. People just ran eventually. And now at this point, 25 years in, yeah, the cities belong to them. So the humans are the ones eking out a living, like out in the wilds, basically. And they're, you know, sanctuary is where you can find it, where you can make it, where you can make home. Home is a big theme, a big through line in the Bone Eater King. They're just trying to, you know, one character is just trying to get back home. And it's like, well, what is home? You know, she's had so many over the years, and then, you know, this current one feels like the closest one she's had maybe in a long time. So she's really trying to get back to it and fight for it and stuff. But
I like how you send that out too, where it's like, I've had so many lives. Like they've been so many different places with so many different people that they think of them as just separate lives that they've had.
Right.
As you go through, I gotta go this way.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, and since you've done the sequel, Race of the Witch Rider.
I think he's just really I think he wants a sequel right now, and I don't have it for you, man. I don't know. Race of the Witch, or maybe he's just referring to what happens at the end of the book there. I don't know.
Dad life. It's okay.
Welcome back, Wade.
Dad life happens.
We're just talking about vampire books. Nothing big.
Susan, they are awesome. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here. So yeah, you're gonna be reading them.
Thank you.
Write faster. Dance, clown, dance.
Yeah, that is my big problem. It's really, really difficult for me to write fast and find enough time in the day. And I'm working on something right now that I'm not ready to talk about, but it is, something that I have a deadline for, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm trying to, all my energies are just, getting poured into that. And I'm, trying to find extra time. I'm getting up early, writing more on the weekends, writing more in times that I didn't, trying to limit video game type stuff and all that, which is tough when you have a nostalgia podcast.
Yeah, right.
We talk about Super Nintendo all the time for Barry.
I have everything here. I have like a couple of things stepped on here, but it's like, oh, I got 4 pages written today. I'm done for the month. That's all that's going to come out of my head right now.
Right. It's tough. It's tough. And I mean, it's inspiring. That's another thing with the local community. I've seen people go through slumps. I've seen people, come out of the slump going a million miles an hour, and their output is just insane. And I've seen people who Rob is a good example of someone who, as long as I've known him, he really has always found that balance. Like I know he had told me once that he goes into work early, and that's like quiet time, and it's like a perfect way to do it. So that's kind of that's what you need to do. You need to specifically find time and force yourself and schedule it and stick to it. And it is hard for sure. I will say that even though finding the time to write is still hard, and also doing podcast stuff, because I have my own, I have yours, random just things that I'll do, and I love it. It's great. But that's also time away, so it's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What I'm going to do is I'm not going to play another Final Fantasy. No more 100-hour games for this guy. No more Red Dead Redemption for this guy. I gotta, until the third one comes out, and then I won't write for a year, but until then, but no, it's really, it's hard. It's hard, and you got to be dedicated. I will say that even though it's still hard to find the time, even though I'm trying really hard, the output when I'm sitting has improved quality wise. I think there are so many times, and I assume everybody goes through this, where you're sitting there and you're just like, Rob says he's currently slumping. Well, you'll pull out of it.
He also says
Final Fantasy 16 in June, Barry said. Not for me, Barry. You'll have to tell me how it is. But yeah, it's just there have been times where so many times in the past, writing these novels and stuff, I assume everybody deals with the same thing. It's not a unique thing. But you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm here. My fingers are like this, hovering over the keyboard, and 4 hours goes by and you have 2 sentences, and you're like, wow, I moved words around for 4 hours. Thought, should I say thought or considered thought, or no, forget it. He's just gonna say it. Yeah, he'll say it, but is he gonna exclaim it? Is he gonna exclaim, or no? Thinking's better. I should make him think that it should be a thought. My instinct was right to begin with. It's just shit like that, and then it's okay, 4 hours went by, and you're just you're just staring at a screen that you feel like, what is my life? Why do I do this? You know,
because of that.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Rob. Right, faster.
That's what
was great.
That's why you do it, so that you have people who are like, give me more, and I canceled. I bought the new expansion for World of Warcraft, and it launched, and I think I had like 20 some days that were left on my subscription, and I had to stop. I never did figure out oh, you can swear on this show, by the way.
Okay,
I never understood the fucking mechanics. Yeah, we're rated R. The fucking mechanics for Dragonflight, though, make no sense to me whatsoever. So I was gonna do a Twitch show and just be like Del Derp's Dragonflight and be like, watch me get 2 feet in the air and land again because I can't go anywhere. Oh, wait, here we go. Susan. Steve, when you do hit a block, what helps you to move past it? It seems each artist has their own process to break a block.
So when I come up to a part that it feels like I'm hitting a wall, and if I'm hitting a block, like it's not the same exact thing. I think you're just talking about just general writer's block. But what happens to me more frequently is I will come to a part and it feels like, okay, I have a plan, because I'm what we call a pantser for the most part, which means I write by the seat of my pants. I don't have an outline. I have a basic idea of where the story is going to go. And with short stories, I have more of a internal outline. I don't really write it down, but I know, like, okay, the beats are A, B, C, D, and I got to end over here. And, you know, that's more important. With something that's longer, becomes more freeform, and I really like discovering the stuff along the way. So what that means is I'll hit a block and I'll come to a part and I'm like, man, the thing that I was thinking I want to do does not feel right. It just doesn't feel right. And sometimes it'll really like catch me up for days. And I'll just be like, my God, I don't know. I could just write the thing I was going to write, but if I do that, like, I don't feel good about it. I'm forcing it. And I at this point trust my instincts on that. At the beginning, I'm like, what's wrong with me? What do I do? You know, and every writer tells you something different. There, you know, plenty of people will say, you know, suck it up, Buttercup, just write, just keep going.
Reread.
Reread those times helps me feel like I didn't waste my time. It doesn't always help. Yeah. Honestly, I'm supposed to be writing right now, but I'm watching you people. Well, you know, I would say sorry, but I'm not. So, I mean, I've bought your book, so whatever.
Yeah. And
ford the river. That's what you got to do. You got to ford the river. And it's hard. You're like, well, I don't know how to ford this river because the thing I was going to use would get me across it, but it doesn't feel like that's what I should do. And there have been times, like, thinking back to certain things that I ended up changing. When I think back to times that I ran into blocks like that, I cannot believe the idea that I was originally going to go with. And I look at all the stuff that came from the new idea that I'm like, wow, I literally never, that's why I'm a pantser. I never would have been able to plan for that at the beginning of writing this book. Not in a million years. In the second book of the vampire books, so Marrow Dust. So one of the things that I knew I had to work in was like, it's all predators. That was my deal. And I'm like, but I want there to be a scene with an elephant. And I really, really wanted like a vampire versus elephant scene. And oh my God, I cannot tell you how many different, like, multiverse of madness universes there are with like different versions of that. Like, there's so freaking many of like stupid ideas that just sucked. And I didn't write them because they sucked. I'm like, no, I could do this. So if I ever feel like, I just am stuck. And that's when I run into the block. And I try to think about, so the original question is, what do I do? I try to think about it as differently as possible. So if the obvious thing is to ford the river, I'm like, what if I go around? Or what if I build a bridge out of toothpicks? Is that possible? Is that stupid? Like, maybe that's more interesting, you know, and I try to just look at it completely different. But I know that there is eventually going to be that like aha moment that I am waiting for internally, that I just like need that. And it has worked out every time. Every time I've never looked back and gone, man, I should have just I spent too much time on this. I should have just gone with my first impulse. At least it would have been done fast. Like I'm never gonna think that. I always feel like, oh my God, I cannot believe I was originally gonna do that. That is so stupid. Like, so
Do you ever do the thing where you research like it? I've gone through and I have a place in one of my books where that I'm working on where okay, these people need to stay in a cabin. And I remember when I used to stay at my grandparents' cabin and they had like the water reservoir so you could use the bathroom and then they'd have to refill it and stuff. And I was just like, okay, so I need to research how to do that. And I need to do, and then finally I was like, or the guy could just fucking have a cabin that has plumbing. I mean, that would work.
yeah.
That would be fine. That could happen too. So I'm going to go through our comments here real quick. We've got so he says Neil Gaiman says he writes in a similar fashion. Susan, my art does similar. Susan's awesome, by the way. My art does similar. It's like the project takes on a life of its own. That's when you know it's going to be good. As a pantser, do you always love being surprised?
I love being surprised. The best part of writing, period. It's the best part.
And Tom would like to know, how many novels have you done?
Hey, Tom. I've done 3 novels, and my next book coming out, which we haven't really talked much about yet, but it's Black Honey and Other Unsavory Tales. And that is a book of short stories. They're all written by me. And the funny thing is the next book after that is also going to be a short story collection. That's actually what I'm currently under the deadline for. So I didn't plan on writing 2 short story collections in a row at all, but life is weird. So this is where we're at. And so as far as novels, I have 3, and the one after this, the book that I'm not going to talk about that's going to come out after Black Honey, that's the second short story collection. The one after that will definitely be another novel, and it's not going to be a sequel. I'm sorry, Rob. It's going to be another new thing. I really am trying to forge sort of a first wave of just things that I love, things that I have ideas for, that my takes on different genres or whatever. So I mean, I'm doing different stuff. I'm always the through line is monsters. There's always going to be dark stuff. There's always going to be a horror slant and scary parts. And there's always going to be a push for diversity. Always. I mean, I have, 2 novels of Black vampires. I have a Native American sword and sorcery guy in my Mark of the Witchworm, and that is something that I feel really strongly about. I think that it's really important to not just write what you know and not just write your own experience, but to find other characters and, bring life to, characters, type demographics and types of people that don't get their day enough, and to bring them into the genres that I love. Honestly, like there's not, all the genres I love are just incredibly white. They just are. And there's no reason for that. It's ridiculous.
And so I stand by saying, even though he's not Native American, David Bautista is who I constantly see Rander as.
That's cool. I think that's really interesting. You want Bautista for Rander. So he's the star of Mark of the Witchworm. That's cool. I mean, I love Dave Bautista.
Big. Okay, so gonna get a couple more comments, and then we're gonna get a reading, guys.
Okay.
We're gonna get to hear him. So Desiree,
hey Desiree.
Well. You're gonna have to well. I gotta go back to it. And coming up for things, Desiree's also so excited.
Desiree is an IRL friend. So thanks for showing up, Desiree. You rock.
Jesse Raz is still working on getting a collection done. He's writing instead of or he's watching us instead of writing. Let's go through here. Very cool, says Wade. I couldn't do short stories on my own. Barry wants to know if you've ever thought of doing a graphic novel.
I would love to do a graphic novel, Barry. I have a story in the flagship title for the last bunch of years for Rough House Publishing has been Gore Shriek Resurrectus. And that is a resurrected comic title from the 80s. Yeah, Zoe has everything that we've ever made. She wants a Derek Steve novel. So do I. Zoe, so do I. Someday we'll definitely have to get there. But anyway, so Gore Shriek Resurrectus it was a title that was out in the 80s. It's like a super gory anthology horror series, I call it Evil Creep Show. It's like an evil creep show. It's more violent, more gory, more mean-spirited, but similar to Creep Show. So every story is drawn by a different person, and a lot of them are written by unique people. And so I have one story that's in the second issue of Gore Shriek Resurrectus called The Nowhere Man. And number 3 will hopefully be out this year, later in the fall is the hope. And when that comes out, I'm going to have like at least 3 stories in that one. So that'll be really cool. But as far as my own graphic novel, I would love to do that. I have a few ideas for properties that like I think of, and it's like, you know what, this is super visual, and this should not be a novel. This should be a comic or something visual would be really great. So I would love to do that for sure.
And Jesse, he works at the Haunt. He's a Haunt actor and manager and such.
Nice.
So he's recreated. He was kind of flipping out a little bit about Gore Shriek.
Yeah, Gore Shriek.
But he's
nice. You recreated one of the covers. We would love to see that. I'd love if you could take a picture and. I'm not familiar with that particular one, but the one with the little dead girl in the blue dress carrying the baby with the intestines spilling out, like that is Gore Shriek for you folks. So if you're wondering just how mean-spirited is it's very. The answer is very, but it's fun. Definitely fun.
We have more questions for you. You're just getting flooded here. What's your favorite short story written by someone else?
So impossible to say. I think one of the best short stories of all time. It's more of a novella, I guess. So maybe it doesn't count, but Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu is the best like old vampire story ever. And it when you read it, you'll see like just how much of Dracula is in that. Only it came out way earlier than Dracula. So Dracula copied Carmilla. Carmilla is just amazing. Just pure short story. I don't know. That's a hard one. I do love me some Neil Gaiman. Okay, you know what? There is a story he wrote. Neil Gaiman wrote in. It appears in this collection of his that's called Trigger Warning.
Got that.
And the story is called The Black Dog. And it is why I wrote the extra bonus story for Mark of the Witchworm at the end. So I loved the idea that you could tell a further adventure of the main character of the novel and just like flush out something else. Like, well, is this a book 2? No, this is it's a short story. It doesn't need to be a 400-page book. It needs to be, 5,000 words or 7,000 words or whatever it was. That really affected me a lot. So the character is from American Gods. The character of Shadow,
right? Yeah.
From American Gods is in The Black Dog, and it is a great story. And honestly, my favorite part of American Gods was the part in the middle with Shadow trying to solve the weird murders that was going on in the town when he was hiding out. And then like at the end of the book, he never resolves it. And then at the end of the book, they go back in the epilogue and you're like, oh my God, I forgot all about that whole thing that happened. And I didn't even think they were going to go back to it. But the way that he wrapped it up was like my other favorite part. That like made the middle part my favorite thing in American Gods.
He's really good about finding an endpoint for every single little thing that you might forget about. It's like, oh, yeah. I saw this one person on one page of a Sandman comic in the background, and their story ended over here. You know,
yeah.
Wade has two questions for us. Do you think horror needs more visuals than other genres?
Absolutely, but the thing that I think people forget about horror is that like visuals aren't the only thing it needs. It needs all senses. So describe everything. To me, horror, the best horror, like I said, you know, I don't write splatterpunk. I like things to, I don't know if I'm successful at making things scary. I have no idea. That's a person by person thing, but I try to make things scary. And the main thing for me personally is atmosphere. It's just, it has to be, you have to set the stage. You have to paint every little thing because, you know, there's no visual component. So, you know, you think about, okay, sure, I'm seeing a thing, but what are you hearing? What are you smelling? What are you tasting? Whatever. And you try to work as many of the senses into whatever the experience is. And you can really paint a lot of atmosphere, and you learn to like withhold the scary part, and you drag that out to a point. If you drag it out too long, it becomes boring. But if you can drag it out for a few sentences, and a lot of times what I'll do is I'll write something and I'll feel like, oh, that was pretty good. And then I go back and read it the next day and I'm like, oh no, this is stupid. It's like it's too truncated. I got to add cartilage. This is all bones. So the sentence that gave away the scare, the blah, like ends up being 4 sentences later, you know, and like that is the kind of thing that I think comes with, you know, editing, and you can make it better. But yeah, I mean, horror is every sense. Visceral, it's every sense that you have is making you more scared. So I just think the more you can describe that to the reader, the better.
Okay, and Wade, you were asking about how to spell it. Rob has you covered.
Yep.
Carmilla.
There you go, Wade.
There you go. Yay.
Carmilla.
And yes, Susan, your mind's idea of something can often be much scarier than the visual, sometimes as proved by the first filming, well, and possibly the second, of Stephen King's It. Pennywise was frightening as hell, but I think they handled the monsters much better in, I hate to say it, but the early Evil Deads, because you didn't really see the monster. You just had the feel of it coming up behind you.
Right. Yeah, you have the slasher cam or whatever. I mean, that whole slasher cam thing like became so successful because it was scary. Yeah, I think the concept, if something is, so I have split mind on like how much you show. If you're talking about a Godzilla movie, there's nothing scary about Godzilla. I just want to fucking see Godzilla. Give it to me. Give me more Godzilla. Okay. The 2014 one, not enough Godzilla. Give me some fucking Godzilla. I'm here for the fucking Godzilla. But if you're talking about like a haunted house movie or something, then yeah, you don't want to show that much. And the one that always comes to mind for me with like showing too much and making it not scary is the remake of House on Haunted Hill. Jeffrey Rush, I think, was unless I screw this up. It's either House on Haunted Hill or The Haunting. But it's I just remember the scene where, you know, it's the one with Liam Neeson. Somebody's got to know which one that is. It's the Liam Neeson one. So I think it's The Haunting. But anyway, there's like so much bad CG. It's not even like it's bad CG. It's just not scary CG. It's fine at the time, whatever. But they have like, you know, the angels on the bedpost like turn their heads. Yeah, The Haunting. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
And it's like, my God, there's just like nothing scary in this movie at all. It's all just showing you too much. Like, let my mind fill in the gaps, and it would be scarier.
Yeah.
But
I know people who that was their first, like the first one was one of their favorite horror movies, and then it's like, and then they just made it all. Ooh, yeah, the cherubs. I remember that they're just like, oh, screaming and stuff. But I like Haunted House too. I'm really all about it. Hellblazer has Bone Eater King book. It's great.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Hellblazer. That is awesome. Badass name, too. Say, of course, it's a John Constantine reference. I just got done reading the entire run of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing last year, by the way.
I'm going to start on that, actually, because I'm so excited with the new Swamp, with the announcement that James Gunn made with.
Yeah.
Right.
Me too. Me too. Basically I'm a Marvel fan more than a DC fan, but bring it all. Bring it all. Right? I want it. I want it, everything that James Gunn said, like give it to me. Even the stuff I don't even know what it is. Yeah, bring it to me. But Swamp Thing and Green Lantern, those are the two. I think it's called Lanterns is the name they settled on.
Rose Red is a house that I would live into.
Yeah. Rose Red's a great example, and that was a TV movie. It shows like you don't need much, especially with like old dark house movies. Shin Godzilla, lots of Godzilla and Shin Godzilla. That is for sure. Plenty of Godzilla in that movie.
If Frank was here, the show would now be 45 minutes solid of Godzilla references, and that would be it. Like, we have to just get him his own show that's called Metallica and Godzilla, and that would be great.
I can't take it down. Sorry,
I think I see him behind you.
What's that?
I think I'm looking at the shelves behind you. I'm like, ooh, what do you have in your little nook?
Well, the poster is The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, which came out a year before the original Godzilla. It's a great movie. It's a Ray Harryhausen special effects masterpiece. Love The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. The Godzilla thing you see over here is a Zoid. If you guys remember Zoids, they were like robot model kits. It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
We both were like, yeah, because Susan was looking at the same thing. We're like, Godzilla. She was going to say the same thing about our Clevenger. And Scott, I will get to I'm going to get to the comments again in a section, but we've been waiting to get the reading because you got to hear the man narrate, and we need to hear what Rander sounds like. So,
all right. So you asked me if I would do Rander's voice. So I picked out a little section. I have to say, reading from novels is not my favorite thing to do for an excerpt. It's like so hard to pick out like what part to read. You don't want to give away too much, but if you give away too little, then it's boring and all this stuff. So let me see here. I have a little section. There is some dialogue. There's two characters. Hopefully I can get back to the Belmorn voice. It's been a couple of years. All right, here we go. So this is from chapter 1-4. It's pretty close to the beginning. He's just arriving at the city of Rune that he has been. You said it earlier. He's basically knows this one colonel, and he's trying to get to the city to find this guy, so he can hopefully find some medicine for his very, very sick son. But the important thing you got to know is that he's really far from home. Like, he's been on the road. You know, we said this is the episode 4. This is the New Hope. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happened before this, but you don't need to know it. Who cares? This is the good stuff, right? That I wrote. But he's what is it, like 5 months into his journey at this point. He's been on the road, so he's road weary and finally at this place. Okay, I'll shut up now. Here we go. Belmorn's heart tripped. There was a light ahead. Finally, an end to the forest road he had been following for so long. Whether the stallion had entered a canter of his own volition or by some cue from its rider, Belmorn could not say, but with a boisterous shout he did intend. He urged Magnus into a full gallop. A sudden widening of the road ended at something Belmorn had not expected. Halfway between defensive wall and sculpture, Rune's outer wall was a sight to behold. Squinting at the white stone as if it were giving off light, Belmorn tilted his head. His gaze moved up and up. trying to locate where it all ended, but the top of the wall was lost amidst the overgrown branches of trees. The horse whinnied with an excited headshake. Yeah, was all Belmorn could muster. His eyes devoured the series of oversized figures, which stood shoulder to shoulder in a rigid line that wrapped around the wall in both directions. As he approached, Belmorn could see that every stone man held an enormous shield and was probably over 20 feet tall. The runic guard, he spoke with reverence, having heard the term many times in the preceding weeks. The road led to the only break in the stone figures that he could see. In a place of a door, there was a single portcullis, a sliding gate made of crisscrossing metal bars. Belmorn had seen the like before, usually at the far end of a castle's drawbridge, but such things were antiquated, from another older age, just like Rune itself. Belmorn had heard it called the last of the great shield cities. Now he had an idea of what that meant. Unlike his ultimate destination, Rune had been depicted prominently on every map. The place served as a gateway to the vast northern expanse which men called the Veld. Raised in the waning years of the last millennium, before the green-haired raiders crossed an ocean of ice in their dog-faced ships, in a time when the legendary venomancers of Zanhazib yet held sway over their now-lost domain, if one believed such things. Belmorn pulled Magnus to a halt, dismounted, and walked closer to the gate. The pattern of the bars was unique. Not vertical and horizontal, but crossed in stark angles like an iron latticework. He placed a gloved hand upon the surface, then pulled it away to inspect the red flakes. Definitely iron. He hadn't meant to say the words aloud. His speech elicited an unexpected snort. A man stood just inside the gate, a guard who was trying his best to look as if he had not been caught asleep at his post. "You there, highwayman!" The man's accent was strange, similar to the only other Northman he had met, the one he should have left to the crows. "Never seen you here before." Slowly, Belmorn unfastened the buttons holding up his collar. The guard stepped forward. That was when Belmorn could see that the man was gripping a black powder rifle. "True," said Belmorn in the most pleasant tone he could muster. "I've never been here before, but I am looking for something." "Is that so?" The guard scoffed, raising an untrusting brow. "And what might you be hoping to find?" Though loath to spill his story to this lone sentry, Belmorn knew that any hesitation on his part would come across as suspicious, even deceitful. "Only rest and supplies," he said calmly, truthfully. "And if I can find one, a guide." "A guide? To where?" The guard snorted again. "Hate to disappoint you, friend, but past Rune there's nothing worth finding. The road ends here." Belmorn lowered his head and grinned a knowing grin. "Fortunately for me, it goes a bit farther on, I'm afraid. I'm headed for a small mining village called Jace. Do you know it?" Hearing the name caused a subtle shudder in the guard. Attempting to recompose, he nodded. "I do, but as I said, it's not worth finding. Silver stopped flowing near 10 years back." Belmorn flashed a scornful glare. "Didn't come all this way for silver." The guard coughed up a laugh. "Nothing else in Jace. Never was. Just a dead mine, an empty mountain, and a town full of ghosts. Take my word on this, friend. You came all this way for nothing. Even if there was treasure left in those veins, you would find no one here mad enough to show you the way. It's too far into the veld, past the moat, almost to the mountain, and that road, well, it belongs to her now." Belmorn raised an eyebrow. His face hurt, and he was losing his patience. "Her who?" The guard pushed his face closer to the bars, close enough so that Belmorn could see the bloodshot white of his eyes. "Why, The Veld has a witch. Slithered into these parts about the same time the silver stopped flowing. The guard studied Belmore's face. I promise you this, friend. Run afoul of that one, and you'll spend every night of the rest of your miserable life begging and pleading for one thing and one thing alone. Yellow teeth flashed in a crooked grin. Forget what you're after, friend. Death will be your new treasure, and she'll make you beg for it. Problem with witches, they tend to keep their victims alive for as long as possible. Belmore's jaw tightened. From the proximity, he couldn't help but smell the guard's breath, sweet and revolting like maggoty beef. From a pocket, he produced something small and circular, roughly the color of gold. Holding the coin between thumb and forefinger, he pushed it forward enough so the guard would reach for it, and then pulled back. Let me in, Belmore said firmly, quietly. I'll cause no trouble, and I'll be gone by morning. He looked past the guard, tried to glean something of the city itself. The guard licked his lips, then managed to compose himself. Straightening his back, the man scowled through the bars. Fine. I need a name and where you come from. Render Belmorn of Grail. Grail? The word sounded misshapen on the guard's northern tongue. I never heard of it. The Blackfoot shrugged. Well, I've never seen a female Diplocaulus. Doesn't mean the males have taken to laying the eggs. He held the coin higher so it gleamed in the light. The guard looked confused, but his bloodshot eyes followed the trajectory of the coin. Gone by morning? Belmorn gave a slow nod. After another moment's consideration, the guard pushed a hand through the bars, the palm of which was promptly filled with a golden coin. After biting the thing, the man seemed satisfied, then went right back to annoyed. Gripping the spoke of what looked like a large wagon wheel, the guard pulled, but this only resulted in a high metallic squeal. Looking emasculated, the guard tried again, harder this time, forcing unseen machinery to wind back to life. Slowly and with visible effort, the wheel was turned on its axis, slowly raising the latticed portcullis with each rotation. When able, Belmorn led his horse by the reins through the gate. At the last second, he looked up to see the many angled points of the portcullis and urged Magnus on a little faster. A place this big must have an apothecary, he asked without asking. The guard grunted, scratching behind an ear. Coons. He was out of breath. But if I were you, I wouldn't bother. Not tonight. Belmorn stopped. Why not? Because by this hour, Graydon Coon will be too far deep in his cups to be of any use. For a peddler of wellness, the man is as cordial as a viper when drunk. The guard frowned. Better to try in the morning when he's only hungover. Shop won't be open, but if you bang hard enough on the door, you might get lucky. As for tonight, find the Folly. Belmorn gave a look of confusion, much to the guard's amusement. Rune's still got 2 working taverns, but that's the one you want. Ask for Otma. She'll set you up with a bit of food. Maybe a bed, if she's in the mood. Again, the guard bit down on the golden coin. Head down this main road there. It widens about a quarter of a mile down into the square. By this hour, it will be the only place with the lights still on. Again, Belmorn felt his lip throb. After sparing a semi-grateful nod for the guard, he moved away from the gate and into the last of the great shield cities. Stop.
Bravo, sir.
I don't remember what the guard originally sounded like. He just became Crow over time. If you listen to the book, I don't know. I only got so many different. They're supposed to be Germanic, kind of. That's what I went with.
It was, and Scott would like to know if he's a real masshole.
He's like, hey Magnus, get over here. Get over here. We got to park you over there by that fire hydrant over there. Get over here. You goddamn Adam Andre, what are you doing? That was it.
Penelope gives us some claps. Okay, I'm gonna.
Oh, Penelope Flynn. Hey, Penelope, how's it going?
Got more people here. Hey, welcome. I'm gonna do a commercial real quick, and then we're gonna go into what we have coming. Wicked Witchworm.
Wicked Witchworm.
You got the good. All right. We're gonna do some commercials, and then we're gonna start talking about some black honey. So give me a second to find the next one labeled for me. All right. See you guys in a sec.
Hello, all you beautiful people out there. It's your boy Slippy. And when I'm not guzzling down gallons and gallons of amazing ice cream, yes, oh, I love ice cream. Oh, hang on. I'm watching PBDC TV. Now, back to the show, all you beautiful people. And remember, stay nasty.
Thank you, Slippy, for kicking us back in here. Everybody, go vote for SAS. Yeah, hop over scurryface.com. Got some people in there. Nobody here knows what I'm talking about. It's the scare actors. I'm not going to get it right. Anyway, go over to Scurryface. There's some things up. Vote. You can only vote once a day. We're on round 2. We got some haunt actors from around the world that have been competing, and we're trying to see who is going to be the Scare Actors Spectacular winner for the 5th year.
Nice.
All right. Now we're going to start. I have to keep flipping back between brands. What brand are you in now? Okay, get over here. We got all these people talking about Witchworm. Yes, thank you for Scare Actor Spectacular. Did I forget? But we want to show off the new book that is coming out, which got Black Honey coming out. And this one you can buy, or some lucky person is going to win tonight, the standard edition for pre-order. We move on up to the premium edition, where we got some nice merch going here. Going to be signed and numbered with bookmarks, stickers, a business card, 6 double-sided oversized collectible cards, and that is limited to 100 copies. And then what I've already got on order, obviously, is the Ultimate Edition. That is the hardcore. Well, it is a hardcover. The hardcover book with color and cover artwork signed and numbered by author Steve Van Samson and artist Derek Rook. The softcover book with black and white artwork signed by author Steve Van Samson. Extras include 2 bookmarks, 2 stickers, critique business cards, 6 double-sided I should have practiced this.
Power through.
6 double-sided 6 double-sided oversized collectible cards, an 11x17 poster, and 1 super special surprise limited to 50 units, and that's at least down to 49 already. I know, because I ordered one the day it went on. Like, I was late making your show to see you get it, because I was like waiting for it so I could click on and order it first.
Oh, thank you so much. That's awesome. Yes, Black Honey. Thank you for doing that, Delphine. That was a wonderful presentation. I couldn't have done better myself. Um, that's the new one, and it's coming out as soon as we can get it out, guys. Basically, the book is done. We're working on the extras right now, and we are a little, we're late from our original prediction of when it was going to come out, but there have been extenuating circumstances. So we're going to get it out as soon as we possibly can. But the book has 10 stories, and they're all written by me. And both of these books have all the same stories, so it's not like we added an extra one. So if you're interested, but you only got $15.99, no problem. $15.99 exists for a very specific reason. Not everybody is Zoe or or some of you crazy, like, or you, Delphine. We appreciate you all, but like, there's it's fine. Everybody's on a budget. But so yeah, same book. The cover artwork by Derek Rook. We had he had it colored by this dude. I actually can't remember the colorist's name, but he did a great job. The purple cover is like way cool, but I was like, man, I really like this black and white though. It's like so cool, and so we decided to make that the soft cover. It's black and gray. We ended up doing it, but I really like the way it looks in both covers.
See the
Like,
covers.
yeah, okay. But anyway, other than that, it's just a matter of the extras that come with the different versions and stuff like that. And yeah, the double-sided oversized cards, they're going to be like cards that they're themed to look like they're from like the 70s basically. And like old Mars Attacks type cards and stuff like that. And they feature monsters from the stories. So again, with the monsters, and there's going to be six cards we decided on, I think it says. And yeah, was originally going to be all art by Derek, and now we actually have Mike Broom doing art for the cards alone. Really awesome artist, amazing. He actually works for Greg Nicotero. He's like Greg Nicotero is his boss. He works for him like next door. It's like crazy, but he's an old friend of Derek, and he's helping us out with this. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I wanted to work with Mike for Witchworm as well, and it didn't happen. And so very cool that we're finally getting together on this project. And the cool thing also with Black Honey is that each story has an illustration by Derek that is the title illustration, and you have one of them as our background here. So the first image in the row, that says Black Honey with the dripping font, and it's like with the white background, that is actually that's the Black Honey one. So he wanted to do we decided to do illustrations, but that were text. So a little bit different. It's not like he's illustrating a scene. We wanted a really cool hand-drawn font basically for every single one, every single story. So there are 10 Derek Rook illustrations. They're all really amazing. And it's just kind of, little extra artwork, little bit of next leveling for the book. And stuff. So yeah, when it comes out, I mean, it's going to be awesome when it comes out. I'm really excited for it. I'm ready for it to be out, and I can't wait for you guys to get it. And I just ask that for those of you who have been texting and messaging on Facebook asking, when is it coming? When's it coming? Thank you so much for caring that much. It really means so friggin' much that anybody even gives a shit. So yay. And I promise it's coming as fast as it can, and you won't be disappointed. That's the important thing, because at Rough House Publishing, we don't disappoint.
So he wants to know, will the books be signed? Is it just the premium and ultimate edition that are going to be signed?
I think the paperbacks are not signed, but of course Zoe knows me in Meat Space, so obviously I will sign yours, Zoe. I mean, when I see you. But technically, I think, I mean, it's whatever it says in the graphics you just had up.
Okay,
I don't think oh yeah.
it will be.
Apparently I'm signing them all, guys. So sure.
You're going to be signing a lot.
Well, I need to figure out what my drawing's going to be. I always figure out a drawing for each book that I draw everybody, and I'm actually not 100% sure what the drawing's going to be.
Well, somebody tonight is going to be getting one of these, and then after it releases, we're going to get him back, guys. We're going to call him. We're going to be like summon, stand in front of mirrors, draw some runes on the ground, and get him back. And then we'll be giving out 2 copies of these, as well as some. You're going to have it up on Kindle when you close enough, right? Mm-hmm. With the release. Okay.
Yes.
So we'll be getting that out for people too. Let's go back over to the comments. It must be signed. Yes, it will be signed. I promise you.
You got it, Zoe.
Yes. Susan's excited. Winnie the Pooh is in public domain. Just saying. Quick side thing on that, Paul. You don't know me at all, but PBDC here. We're working on a project to put out some Psycho Bunny Death Cult versions of some of the books that have reached the public domain. We're gonna all take our neat little dark twist ideas on everything, and I'm not sure that Winnie the Pooh would really survive the PBDC treatment. It might. We're looking at a little bit more of the horror side of things, but that is going to be something else. If you hop on and check out our network and go to our webpage, we have some members only stuff too. If you want to come and join, we'll have some movie nights going on with some insane, crazy shit. That if you're insane, if you like gore, if you like horror, if you just like what the fuck is going on in my life, please come talk to us. Get into the members only section of our page so that you can see all the strange shit that we do. But yeah, that got me all excited with the public domain. So back to Steve and explaining anything else you want to tell us about how exciting, how awesome Black Honey is going to be. If you want to do something for one of the stories, you can do that for us. Whatever you would like to do.
I don't have a reading picked out for Black Honey. I don't have any physical copies yet, but I will talk about it. So these are stories that I have. Some of them have been published before and things. So actually, the more lore from the mythos stories are in there. Well, one of them is. One of them's not. No, wait. I think both of them are. Now I can't.
I know the plant one is.
Yeah, the plant one is. So that's growing just beneath. That one's in there. And then I wrote about half the book is new, about half of it has been published before, basically. So there was some of the cases of some of the stories where like, wow, this story I really love, and I've submitted it, and it hasn't ever been accepted in anything. And so, like, part of me was like, well, is that a good idea, though? Because, like, maybe it's bad and you just don't know. And it's really funny, like, my advanced readers that got to read it, my ARC copies, advanced reader copies, they loved it. And the stories that they shouted out were all the ones that hadn't been published before. So I was like, and it was really, really gratifying to me that 2 or 3 of the people said that they listed the one story that I always felt like I was like a little hurt that it had just never been accepted. And I'm like, I just don't understand. Like, I like the story a lot. And it just, I don't know, it just never found a home. And that just happens. Like, that's what happens, folks. Like, you rejected a lot, and it just happens. Doesn't mean the thing isn't worthwhile. And one of the readers actually said that they thought that story that was like a haunted house story, a very weird take on a haunted house type story. And that's actually called Letter to Eveline, and that's in there. They said it was the best haunted house, best like ghost story, haunted house story that they've read in like 10 years. So I'm like, wow, that's incredible That's an incredible feeling because this was the little story that could, and it kept getting rejected and kept getting rejected. And I just still had faith in it. I'm like, no, I'm going to put it in here. I think it's good enough. So it's like, honestly, just trust your instincts, folks. I don't know. When your spidey sense is tingling, it says, don't go down that path, write something better. Or if it's saying, no, this is actually pretty good. These books don't know what they're talking about. It's fine. You should definitely be published. Keep trying. If you feel really strongly about something that just keeps getting rejected, keep trying, or, screw it, put it out yourself. and people will love it. People will love it because that one person who's reading the slush pile at that collection, and then even if it's another 5, 10, 20 people, a lot more people than that are going to end up reading your book and loving it. So, it's just
sometimes they're looking for something in a very, very narrow category. And if you don't hit every little button in there that, 300 other people submitted and these people just happen to click the right buttons, doesn't mean what you wrote wasn't right.
Exactly.
It just wasn't right for that issue.
And don't let it get you down too much either. Like, in general, I can take rejections in stride. You have to. It's not a thing to take personally. I guess what I'm saying with this particular story is I was just kind of like, I still got faith in it though.
Well, it sounds
maybe
like it's a good
maybe a little
thing
butthurt. Maybe a little, this much butthurt like that. But it's fine.
It's
out in Black Money now, so y'all can read it.
All right, and speaking of, I think I'm going to go ahead, and this is the first time I've used the giveaway tool. So I've been collecting everybody's comments all night because otherwise it's, okay, everybody type out something and everybody, there's going to be like, they didn't get entered because they didn't get the capital letter right or something. So I've just been collecting everybody. So you'll have to let me know while I'm on the giveaway tool if it's showing up on the screen. Because, okay, we have 24 people that have commented individually tonight. So yeah. Okay, I need to, I think if I do this and then present my screen, share screen. We'll try this. But it's not. Oh, there we go. We're going to double it all up here. Okay. Can you see me now with just the draw? Is that up?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So we are going to draw 6 times. The first 4 people who win are going to get Kindle versions of both of the Bone Eater King books, as well as Mark of the Witch Worm. The 5th person for those, the 5th person is going to get a copy that you are working on, the Witchworm, which will be autographed with some artwork and the bookmark. And the last person, lucky number 6, is going to get their pre-order for Black Honey. So here we go. So we flip through everybody with no pictures. Everett, if you're not still watching, I will be getting this in for you. I have your email or your Facebook, so I can get a hold of you quite easily and give you a code for that. Time for number 2. Paul McNamee, please get in touch with me real quick so that I can send something with you or get something to Steve that he can send me a way to get a hold of you. And you have won the 2nd Kindle package. The 3rd Kindle package is going to go to, they need to give us a little music for this.
Yeah.
Paul, you can't win again. Sorry.
What are you trying to do here, Paul? Come on. Come on, man.
Your name is supposed to be out of the sherry.
It's not cool.
That's right. Not cool, Paul. You don't get it twice.
Can you take the winners out so they don't get entered in again?
It's supposed to automatically do that. Apparently it isn't. But Tom, you get a Kindle packet. Let's try again. And Everett, Tom, and Paul. No cheating.
Yeah, we need music. We need like some serious like brutal metal right now.
Okay, and Mikey, you win the next Kindle version. Now, okay, time for the big drawings.
Christopher.
Oh, that's Mikey.
Oh, Mikey.
That's by Mikey. But you didn't know that. But Mikey, yay. Mikey. Okay. Now we go for the big money, no whammies.
So
no cheaters.
Wait. Was that did Mikey get the Witchworm book?
Mikey got the 4 set of the Kindles that I'm giving away.
Oh, okay.
So this one is for the next draw is your big one, the one that you've got in your hand, or at least on your desk. Who's gonna get it? No, Mikey, you can't win again. It really likes some of these people. I swear it told me that it takes them out. So
it lied. Frank Clevenger.
Clevenger. And
that's fine because my Clevenger already has it. So he doesn't need it. Yeah,
so now
your Clevenger needs it more. So
our Clevenger gets it. Okay, and now for the pre-order of Black Honey. None of you cheat. Not this time. You don't want to keep spinning. You have to find a better tool for the next time I do this. Kevin Lewis.
All right, Kevin.
Kevin, get a hold of me through Steve.
Awesome.
Let me know. Wow. It's like we've got the memento thing going on here. Or not that. Never mind.
That's awesome.
People I'm talking
about. Congrats, everybody. I hope you like my shit.
I will be getting everything out. I'll be getting all the Kindle stuff out right away, and I'll be getting things set up to have the orders sent to you for the rest.
Perfect. And I will connect with Frank and make sure I have this signed out to him or to whoever he wants me to sign it out to, and I will mail it out myself, and I'll take care of that. Congratulations, everybody. And thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. It was awesome. Super fun. Hope you all had fun. Nobody got ringworm, which is good.
At least Marks.
I mean, I don't think. I mean, nobody mentioned getting ringworm, so I think we're in the clear. So
it's good. Well, yeah, I am so glad to have everybody come out, and said we're going to get this guy back again when Black Honey actually comes out, which is awesome. And we'll be looking forward to it. And we're just going to be like, okay, he's going to read again. We're going to make him do things again. We'll make him dance for us. I'll play some metal music and stuff. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
It'll be good. We'll have a good time.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been really happy for me. And thank you, everybody. We will see you. We have so many new shows coming out. Just go to the websites, check them out. We're going to be alternating Owl Light things, so you'll have different kind of story things. The next clutch, we're going to probably be interviewing Curtis M. Lawson, who is very awesome, and going over his the Blackheart Boys Choir is what we're going to focus on that one.
That's an awesome book. I love
it. Really is.
Curtis is a great dude. I quite like Curtis quite a bit. He's a good friend. And I just want to say congratulations on launching your podcast, The Clutch of Personalities.
Thank you.
Very cool. Did a great job. Did a great job. It was first episode. Good job. This was very fun. I'm excited to see where the show goes, and happy to come back anytime. And if anybody wants to find me on Facebook, is really the best place. I have an author page, Steve Van Samson. I also have my personal page. You can just say hi and we could be friends. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty easy. And if you are interested in purchasing any of the copies, I know that everything is in the liner notes, thanks to Delphine, but roughhousepublishing.com is really the place to go for all the versions of Mark of the Witchworm and for Black Honey. If you're looking for my other stuff like the Predator World, the Bone Eater King stuff, that's on Amazon. You can look it up on Amazon. You can look up Steve Van Samson there, and everything is there as well. But I would ask that if you're interested in Black Honey or Witchworm, really, if you could purchase from the publisher, we'd really appreciate it. And you can also reach out to me too. Sometimes I have books in stock. I have some Bone Eater Kings right now. I think I also have some Marrow Dust too. So if anybody's interested and they want signed copies, I don't charge extra or anything like that. It's just $15.99 for each book, and whatever, we can figure it out. Just saying, thank you everybody for hanging out. It just means the world. And I gotta say, like, it's still just the weirdest thing that anybody wants to sit here and listen to me talk about crap I wrote, and it's really cool. So thank you so much.
Oh, awesome. I will talk to you for another second. Everybody else, good night. Check out everything that Steve's got going. Check out Rough House. Steve Van Samson,
Curtis M. Lawson,
Paul Christian Glenn, Joshua Rex, Raz, Rob Smith,